Hello, everyone. It's me, Trevor, and I'm going bald, as you can tell from the title and the thumbnail. No, I mean, I know that I have a lot of hair on top of my head right now, but it's not mine. Well, it's mine insofar as I purchased it and I own it. It's not growing out of my head, at least what's on top here. But I'll kind of talk more about that later. I kind of just wanted to talk about my hair throughout my life and kind of how I got to having this very nice, pretty, kind of full head of hair because I've never had hair like this in my life. And so, yeah, I mean, I've always kind of been insecure about my hair. It's kind of like my biggest insecurity, I would say, throughout my life. I mean, even when I did have even when I was younger, I never had like very dense, like thick hair. I never really had a way that I liked to style it. I kind of went through phases, when I was younger, I did a little bit of the faux hawk thing. There's a time when it was very long and swooped down in front of my head. There was a time, briefly when I kind of like pushed it up. And then kind of since I, graduated high school, I've sort of just worn it down messy in front of my head or long and under hats, mostly hats. I think like I've pretty much mostly worn hats because I don't know exactly when I started noticing my hair loss. Honestly, it was probably around, like if I had to guess, it was probably around like 20. But it was one of those things that I kind of just like, I think subconsciously ignored. I always knew at one point that I was gonna go bald. I mean, something like 70% of men experience some sort of male pattern baldness, and my dad like had a receding hairline. It was just something that I knew eventually was gonna come for me. But I never did anything about it, and I kind of just like didn't want to address it. So yeah, I kind of just like slowly started losing hair. My hairline was receding, and I just couldn't, I don't know. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know. Obviously, I knew that like hair transplants were a thing. I knew that was an option. It wasn't until I met Raven that she kind of started to give me some confidence to address the problem and do something about it. She would send me TikToks of like, guys doing their hair routines using minoxidil and finasteride, stuff like that, the rosemary oil, they're using the derma rollers, stuff like that. And so it wasn't until I met her that, she kind of was like, hey, like there's things that you can do to address this thing. And so I started to do that. I started using minoxidil, and it definitely like worked in some ways. I think that like most of the hair kind of things that you can take, they're really just stalling the process. My hairline kind of did stop sort of receding. At least, I think there at the beginning, I did see with the minoxidil start to see some like growth kind of in the top of my head. And I did get a little bit more density back into my hair. I started taking finasteride as well, and yeah, I sort of just kind of stalled everything out. Still deeply insecure about my hair. Again, it was, I mean, it's been like kind of the biggest insecurity in my life. Second one is my chest. I've pectus excavatum, I believe is what it's called, but I'm never shirtless. And that's kind of by design. You probably have never seen me with my shirt off, so you don't even know what that is. But the hair is always, it's always out there. That's why I was always wearing hats. And yeah, I was experiencing this hair loss, and it was hard for me to do my hair in a way that I liked, I guess. It was, even though I was seeing some improvement, it wasn't, fixing the problem. And so I still, like, when I wasn't wearing a hat, I was wearing my hair down in front of my forehead, kind of messy. But yeah, it just like, it's still, even then, you could tell, and I went to great lengths to try and hide and cover up the receding part of my hairline. But if I moved my head in a certain way, that hair would fall, and you would be able to tell. And it would make me anxious to go out and like do things in public where I wasn't wearing a hat. Like it's sad, but it was if I wasn't wearing a hat, you know, I was constantly stressed and anxious that my hair was going to get messed up or fall in a way that you could tell that my hairline was bad and that my hair was thinning, whatever. And I tried all these things to sort of make it better. You know, I've been thinking and you know, thought about a hair transplant, you know, going to Istanbul and getting a hair transplant. I know that's something that a lot of people do. It's funny, I was at dinner with some friends and they were talking about people in like all the people in kind of like the gaming and esports and just like streamer world that like do have hair transplants, which again like doesn't surprise me, because it's, I mean, if you look at the amount of famous people, like famous men that like just don't have receding hairlines, it's like statistically that seems impossible, and it is. I think that like everyone, I think I would guess that most like men, like famous men that have good hairlines have done something to it to make it that way. But it's expensive and it's invasive and it doesn't always take, and the recovery is long, and I'd be without hair for a few months, and there were a billion reasons that like I didn't want to do that. And then I saw this thing about these hair systems, which is what I have. This is essentially a wig on the top of my head. And I started seeing, you know, some guys on TikTok posting about them, and they looked really cool, and I looked into it, and it's honestly just really amazing. I mean, the technology on hair pieces has come a long way. And I basically went in, they did a consultation, they color matched my hair like perfectly. They had like a billion different like little strands of hair that they went through and held it up and picked like the perfect match, which I thought was kind of crazy also because my hair is like a little bit unique in the color that it is. It kind of is like multiple colors throughout. But yeah, they found a perfect match, and then I went back in and the hair piece, the hair system was there. It literally shaved the top of my head, and put like this glue solution. Like it was a longer process, you know. There was a process kind of like alcohol rubbed my head, shaved it down. I haven't had like a clean bald head since like one time I did it. My dad, my mom was on a scrapbooking trip for the weekend, like with her scrapbooking friends, and I had to have been in like the second grade, or like maybe like third grade or something like that. I was young, and my dad was like, "Yo, dude, wouldn't it be hysterical if we shaved your head bald to surprise your mom?" And like looking back, like that was just as much a prank on me as it was on my mom. Yeah, my dad shaved my head bald, and then we were at dinner with a bunch of friends, and I was wearing a beanie, and I just like ripped the beanie off, and I had a bald head. That was the only time in my life that I've had like a like down to the skin bald head, other than when I got this put in. Yeah, and they just shave your head down, and they put it on, and then trim it. All the hair on the back and sides of my head is my own. That's, you know, part of my hair that is generally like, you know, fuller, denser, and isn't like, you know, thinning out or receding. And so yeah, I just have this hair piece on the top of my head. It's glued. It's crazy. If you look really closely, oh, I just got so close to the mic. If you look really closely, you can tell a little bit. It's very hard though if you're just like looking. I mean, when people first started seeing it and I told them, they were like, "That's crazy. It looks really good." And it's a lot more maintenance, obviously, but I can swim, I can work out, I can take showers, wash it. It stays on for like a few weeks, and then I go in to get it, like they clean it. They do like kind of a special, like I'll wash it with shampoo, but then when they clean it, they kind of like clean the whole thing, the like actual wig part of it included. And then they reshave my head, kind of reapply and get it stuck like, you know, with fresh glue and everything. And yeah, and then the system itself lasts for like 6 months until I'm gonna have to get a new one. So I don't know, I love it. My head itches. It was really weird at first, the way like because when your hair's on your head, you don't feel it, you know, like you don't feel your scalp. But when I got it put on at first, it was such like this foreign feeling to have like something just glued to the top of my head, that every head movement I made was like pulling or tugging on my scalp. Like I was just so aware of my scalp for like the first week, and it was freaky and it was scary. And I was like really like, I was just like freaked out. I mean, the first couple days, just anytime I looked in the mirror, I felt like I wasn't looking at myself. And also it felt like I was like lying because I have a wig on, and people would be like, oh my God, your hair looks so good. Like, and I was telling people, you know, I told like my friends, I told, you know, everyone at Smosh Mythical, like when they would see it, I was like very just like, yeah, it's not my real hair. Then there were some videos, you know, people, it got not leaked, but when people first saw my hair, I think a lot of people were like, oh my God, like I've never seen Trevor's hair like that. And I feel like I'm lying to people because I'm like, oh, it's not my real hair, you know? I was talking to someone, a friend of mine who has like some veneers, and they were like, yeah, I feel the same way when people tell me I have a great smile. I'm like, well, they're not my real teeth. But yeah, I don't know. I wanted to make this video because I have been insecure about my hair for a long time, and it was something that I ignored for a long time. And I think that guys in general, there's kind of the stigma of not wanting to talk about hair loss or baldness or being bald. There's probably going to come a day when I decide to be bald, and I hope that I have that confidence one day to just own that. But you know, I want hair. I've always wanted hair, and this was kind of a thing where like, well, I can go get it. I can go buy it. And I'm really glad I did. And I also like want to do this because I want other guys, you know, to see that there are lots of things that you can do. There's lots of different options. I think that everyone deserves to feel really good about themselves. And if, you know, there's a part of you that you don't feel good about, I think that, you know, no matter the stigma or anything, like doing the things that make you feel confident and good are really important. I'm really glad I got it done. And I think when I first got it, there was a part of me that wanted to not talk about it, or not like just come out and say like, oh yeah, it's a hairpiece. Because it also seemed like at the beginning, a lot of people were like, oh, he just wears lots of hats. Like now he's just wearing his hair out. I was like, that's crazy that people could just believe that I had this hair under all those hats the whole time. But I want to be open because I think that, you know, I think for guys especially, hair is a very kind of sensitive topic that it's not something that people are fully, you know, going to be open about often. And yeah, I just wanted to be open because there's a lot of things that you can do, and I'm more confident than ever, and I love it, and I think it looks great, and I'm so happy that I did it. And it's awesome. I don't know what to say. It's like I've gotten used to it. I've gotten used to my hair, but still, like looking at myself in the mirror, I've been insecure about my hair my whole life. So now when I look in the mirror and I see this very like nice, dense, thick, full head of hair, I'm like, this is awesome. You know, it's really cool to have that. It's something that I've wanted for so long, and now I have it, and I'm just really excited. And so I wanted to tell everyone that, yeah, this isn't my real hair. I'm going bald underneath this. Well, I guess I am technically bald underneath this now, even though the little peach fuzz kind of grows through the wig a little bit and it feels weird. But yeah, I don't have hair under here. I bought this hair and I really love how it looks. And a lot of people have, you know, I've been getting lots of compliments, and I'll see you do a napkin. Even right now, they know I'm in here doing this video and they're out there barking because they're like, yeah, Trevor, your hair looks great. Even my dogs are supportive of it. So yeah, that's kind of been my journey with my hair. It genuinely, if you have any questions, you know, if you're curious about any of it, like leave a comment below. I'll try and go through and answer things. Like I want to be open about it and talk about it because I think it's awesome and I love it. So yeah, this isn't my real hair. It's purchased. I bought it. It's glued to the top of my head, and it looks amazing. And I'm super confident, and I love it. And if you have a problem with that, then you can flick off. So thanks everyone for listening to my hair story. Seriously, if you have any questions, leave a comment. Tell me how good it looks. I'm kidding. You don't have to do that. But seriously, I have hair now.